Welcome to the I Love Wine and Dogs podcast, created, produced, and hosted by Heidi Hubner, with engineering and production by Timothy Stone Dancer Coleman. This show was created to celebrate good wine, amazing pets, and people from around the world who are doing great things in their local communities. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the I Love Wine and Dogs podcast with our creator, host, and producer, Miss Heidi Hubner. We have an amazing guest with us today, Miss Jessica Seabern. I'm Timothy Stone Dancer Coleman, producer and engineer. Let's get started with the show. What's up, sister?
Hey, this is called Take Two of this episode.
Indeed. Listen, this is exactly how life happens. We had recorded a phenomenal episode with Jessica a couple of months ago, and, you know, the internet, space, AI, aliens, whoever came to invade, snatched it all up. So we're back to do it again for a second time around.
It was that good, they wanted to take it to space.
Exactly. And this is why we laugh, because this is the reality. And when we get into the show, there's a reason why it didn't work the first time.
This is right. But
I'm going to save that until we get into it. So I think let's just get into it.
Amen. I'm with you. So what's been happening since the last time we spoke? It's July. We're coming up to July 4th. An amazing holiday, my birthday month. I'm so excited.
Wait, what day is your birthday?
My birthday's on July 21st. I'm Cancer Leo cusp.
All
Good
right.
one.
All right. So happy early birthday.
Thank you.
And, 4th of July is, here's my piece for red, white, and blue, right?
That's
everybody?
right.
Let's peace out and love each other and get it together.
I hope it's okay. You guys said to wear 4th of July colors, and I just figured red, white, and blue together make pink, so I'm representing.
See, pink is heart and love, so it works.
There you go.
That's what we need. Anyway, 4th of July also is a very scary time for animals. So I know Tim's going to be doing a PSA on that later, but I'm just going to say before we start the show, make sure that they are in a safe place. Make sure that if you are not going to be home, they're maybe confined into a bedroom with a bed and you've got a TV and music on to try to drown out the sound of the fireworks. Make sure they're microchipped and that they have a collar and tag on, because the shelters get inundated with pets that escape. Yeah, it's horrible.
They get so scared.
Yeah. It is.
And it's really rough.
Fireworks are pretty, but I kind of wish we didn't have them.
Yeah, to some degree, I got to agree with that because, depending on where you live, I'm here in the Bronx, New York. So there's a lot of days of those, what are those M80s, I think, the big heavy sounding ones. They do those leading up to the 4th and for a few days afterwards. It's not just on that particular day. So my dogs have a week of just chaos.
Yeah. I actually love fireworks. It's nostalgic growing up, but then we could also get into the environmental impact as well. Where does all that crap land? In
everywhere.
The ocean with our sweet dolphins, So
everywhere. So before we jump into the interview with Jessica Seabern from Universal Yogis, we're going to talk about our wine, and this is Decoy Chardonnay. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Yeah, it looks great.
I think, Jessica, this is the one that you like, right?
No.
Wait, what?
I've never had Decoy Chardonnay. I bet it's wonderful. I like the other duck one.
What is
duck horn?
Well, oops. So, see, I'm selfish. I was selfishly picked this. Okay, I thought you said decoy, but you like duck horn.
Duck horn, baby.
Okay, well, I don't know how I messed that up, but so we'll have to get together and drink duck horn, but I will drink this weekend.
I'd love to try it.
It's branding.
Well, listen, because I haven't tried duck horn, so you buy this one, I'll buy duck horn, and we'll
Good. I
taste
think you have to buy the more expensive one.
Oh, of course. Well, there you go. Champagne taste from this one. Anyway, duck, decoy, duck horn, tomato, they're both Chardonnays. Drink up.
Good stuff.
Okay, this is not going to be a take 3. We're going to see. You never know what's going to happen with I Love Wine and Dogs, and we're not even drinking right now.
No, but if we're talking about wine real quick, you gave me a bottle of wine recently that I drank, a Pinot Noir that I had some of it last night, not the whole bottle. It was so good. What was that?
Bailiana
So good.
Pinot Noir. So that I belong to that wine club in the Central Coast, and it's so cute. It's in this little schoolhouse, and they're known for their reds, and I'm glad you like the Pinot. I think I do too. So
Loved it. Thank you.
all right, well, you need to get up and come to that tasting room with me, cousin. Let's make it happen.
Okay, let's make it happen.
Okay. All right. So we've done our PSA. It's coming up. We've talked about the wine that I got wrong, but it's all good. Jessica, who are you? Tell us about you. Well, first of all, let's talk about Lenny and Mango. Let's talk about your dogs and your kitty really quick.
Oh, Lenny and Mango are 2 beautiful sisters from another father. I mean, yeah, same mom, same litter, different dads. If anybody didn't know that's possible, it is. A female dog can get pregnant several times by several different male dogs while she's in heat and have a litter of a variety of half siblings. So Lenny and Mango are sisters from another brother, and they are adorable. They're rescues from the Bahamas. They're from Eleuthera, Bahamas. And they're named Lenny and Mango because mangoes. And then Lenny, because they were actually found like on a part of Lenny Kravitz's property there. And and they were rescued. And so that's why they have their names. And they're just adorable. They're 4 years old now. And then Lily, Princess Kitty. I mean, what do you say? She's just the best. She's the best thing in the whole wide world. She's
a good girl. They're adorable. These dogs have hit the jackpot with the Seaberns, that's for sure.
Yes, I love them. Yeah,
that's really cool. Well, I mean, like, I can't believe I'm this years old, right? Finding out that a female dog can get pregnant that many times at the same time. That's crazy.
Yeah, we didn't know until we took them to the vet when we got them to the States, and he told us, and we were like, what? So we found out they aren't full sisters, they're half sisters, but from the same litter. It's crazy.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I have a friend who fosters mothers with babies, and it's like, you all came from all different sorts of places.
Well, yeah, the stray dogs, right? Yep. I mean, when they're in heat, they're in heat.
Which is why we have to spay and neuter people.
They get busy.
Wait, say that again, what?
I said they get busy.
They do, and this is why we have to spay and neuter. We've got to spay and neuter these animals so we help the pet overpopulation.
Absolutely. I will say I'll give a plug to Bryland Animal Rescue in the Bahamas because they sent the dogs to us. I mean, they literally, like, we saw a picture of the dogs on Instagram. We were like, oh, they're so cute. Are they available? They were literally on an airplane to us like 3 days later. It's crazy. Yeah, amazing. There's so many good rescue foundations out there. There's so many great people doing good things. Yeah, so.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we say adopt and don't shop. So
here at Tangent, we explore the possibilities of cool climate white wines rooted in the Edna Valley and the Central Coast. These wines challenge expectations and prove that every day can and should be a new adventure. Our innovative spirit is channeled into everything we produce, from colorful cans to screw-capped bottles to our wine itself. We deliver wines with the promise of being vibrant, fresh, and delightfully different. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, or call us at 805-269-8200.
Well, Jessica, so let's go to your childhood. Did you grow up with pets? Where did you grow
Did.
up?
I had so many pets growing up. I grew up in Minnesota. I grew up, I want to say like I grew up kind of wild. It was very wild, my childhood. And I think I mentioned this to you guys before. Like, if you've read the book, The Glass Castle, it's like my childhood was like the Glass Castle, but my parents weren't like totally nuts. Like, we had shelter, we were provided for, but we really just like, it was freedom. But we actually had we would get the retired dogs from Will Steger's expedition dog sled teams. And so we had dog sled dogs, huskies, and part husky, part wolf, Siberian huskies, all sorts of dogs growing up amongst like every other pet possible, the hamsters, the gerbils, the cats, the lizards, the everythings. But we had it all. But the dogs from the dog sled team were just amazing. And so like as a kid, like as a young girl, I would just be like sleighing across the frozen lakes with Zeus and Mary. These dogs had great names, and they went to the South Pole. These were adventure dogs. And so yes, I had pets growing up. Many. Yeah.
But how awesome that they ended up with you, with your family, so they could still do what they do. Because those are working dogs. Those are not dogs to be hanging out in an apartment. They're busy.
No, and I know we're supposed to be talking about me right now, but that's another thing. I'm always going to go back to the dogs, aren't I? A lot of the dogs, like because of Game of Thrones, people were like, oh, I love those husky wolf breeds. And they were impossible to get in California until Game of Thrones. And then everybody wanted them, thinking what great pets they'll make. Those things need to run like 2 miles a day. And now the shelters are full of them because people can't handle them. They shed like crazy. They're great. They're gorgeous. They're amazing. But they need to exercise. And a lot of people can't handle them. And so please don't get a husky unless you know you can exercise that poor dog, please. So yeah, that's a thing. But yeah, no, my upbringing was really fun.
Well, and like, I know. Well, okay, so let's talk about, so your mom had a dance studio.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were the adventurers. Like, talk about the year you took a year off of school.
Oh yeah. One year, my parents were just like, yeah, we're going to just go live in this camper for a year. And we hit every state. And then we were in Baja, Mexico for quite a chunk of time. All sorts of adventures. I could write a book about just that alone. But yeah, they homeschooled us. But the only education I remember is that if we were crossing a state line, they would stop the camper. And even if we were asleep, if it was 2 a.m., like you're crossing into Montana, they'd stop the camper and go, what's the capital? Like they wouldn't cross the state line until us 3 little kids would be like, Helena, like they wouldn't. I'm thinking Helena is the correct one. I don't even remember. My parents would be so ashamed. But that was literally the gist of the education that year. I didn't learn cursive writing, which I was supposed to. So I have horrible handwriting. And it was crazy. I had a motorcycle. I was like 8 years old. I had my own Yamaha 80. And my parents would just let us go. Like there was one time my brother and I, he was 2 years older than me. And we were in Baja and he ended up in quicksand. And I'm an 8-year-old girl. Couldn't get him out, had to cruise to my dad. Like we had to get ropes. We had to go back, find him. It was just, I can't believe we're alive. We tell these stories like at dinner with my mom. Like we'll tell these stories at dinner with my mom and she's like, where was I? We're like, I don't know. Where were you? So funny. Yeah. Craziness. Fun. Good crazy.
Yeah, I always tell my nieces and nephews, like, always go for the adventure. But I think now you've taken it to a brand new level.
Oh, I have stories.
My God, yeah. Yeah, and what's funny also is that the learning to write in cursive, they don't even teach that in schools anymore. Like, what? That's amazing.
I know they need to have like emoji school instead.
Yeah.
Listen, I was in school and I have horrible writing, so there you go.
Yeah, there you go, for sure.
You didn't miss out on that. But so you're growing up, you decide to go to college. We'll jump forward to Chapman College, aka now university.
Yes, where I met you.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm going to make my parents sound horrible in this podcast, I think. But like, honestly, I wouldn't change one thing about my childhood. I really wouldn't. But yeah, I remember being like, okay, now you're supposed to go to this thing called college. What is that? Like, nobody like explained anything to me. So I was like, okay. And at the time, Chapman wasn't what it is today. I mean, now it's this amazing university. Actually, both my daughters went there. It is still so amazing. But yeah, I think you could just get in if you sent in like your picture and a check. Like it wasn't that hard to get into, and we don't need to say the year, but it was Chapman College at the time. Anyways, I remember my parents just like dropping me off at the curb at Minneapolis Airport, 2 days before I was even supposed to get there for orientation, probably because the flight was cheaper. And I was just like on my own. I mean, I did go to school in England a few years prior, which I was also on my own, and it took me 4 days to get there, and it was a crazy talk about budget airlines. I mean, the man picking me up waited 4 days for me at the airport in England, and nobody knew where I was. Anyways, so I just kind of arrived at this thing called college. I didn't really know what it was. My dad said, don't let school mess with your education. I mean, that was his motto. And so, I mean, we clearly didn't. Like, there was, oddly, both my parents had teaching degrees. But then my dad was a psychologist and my mom was an aerobics teacher. But yeah, no, we were just on a constant adventure. I mean, I'm like, I want to go to boarding school because this one cool girl was going to boarding school. And I'm like, I want to do that. They end up sending me to live with like this rugby player friend of his. I'm like, this isn't boarding school. I'm in like this house in the middle of nowhere in England. But it was so great because like I was the first American this village had ever seen. And it was when Madonna was popular. So like, therefore I was popular. It was, I mean, and I've made great friends that I'm still friends with, and so, I mean, I agree with my dad, I mean, it's a little, I think people kind of turn their nose down on that more because there's just, I don't know, people tend to be in other people's biz, but I think it was just fantastic. The curse, though, is that my brothers and I still have this wanderlust. Like, I don't know if either of my brothers who are, in their 50s have ever like really held a job, but they do a lot of adventures and stuff. And I'm kind of the workhorse of the family, which is interesting, So
this all plays a part in where my questions continue to go. I feel like, my parents were the same. I would figure out what I wanted to do and they would say, okay. And they weren't researching and making phone calls. It was like, oh, okay, here you go. But I think that has made us strong, independent, like we can figure it out.
mm-hmm.
If there was a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to fight. I'm not going to have flight. And I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like, you just really can't put us in a situation where we can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
That's the other thing too. I try to encourage my daughters. I have 2 daughters, Alutha and Marley. And I try and encourage them not to use their cell phones, not to depend on their cell phones for things. Because what do you really experience? Like if you go to Italy and you're looking for a restaurant, everybody just like Yelps and Google Maps and all these things. I'm like, put your phone away, walk around with your eyes wide open and end up in a cafe. You're going to have a better experience because there's not going to be 800 other tourists in there. And so I really encourage them to like, I mean, for safety, I'm like, yeah, have the phone with you, even though we never did. But I'm like, turn it off. Like, don't use it. Like, experience life, you know?
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
So Jessica and I meet at college. We're cousins somehow, some way. It's a long story to figure out, but anyway, she's my cuz. We graduate, and for graduation, we go backpacking in Europe. Again, no cell phones, nothing.
No
and
plan.
No plan. Like, we knew we were going, and we stayed with her friends in England first. That was kind of the jumping off point where I fell off a horse and thought I broke my
chased by
finger.
bulls.
Chased by bulls.
Oh my God.
This could be a whole mini series if we go down the rabbit hole. But the three of us, her friend Jana, we had no plan. We knew where we wanted to go. We would get on, we figured it out. We got on the train. We met great people along the way, and, wrote phone numbers down on a piece of paper or gave them our parents' numbers. But we had the most amazing time. And where did we stay in Greece? We were going to be there for 3 days, and we stayed there for like 9 days.
That was at the Pink Palace in Corfu, which I do wonder if that place is still there. And the only ferry out was 5 a.m. and we were drinking ouzo till like 2 every morning. So we couldn't get off that island because we could never catch the ferry. Finally, I remember us, like, this hill was so steep down to the ferry. And I remember us like riding our backpacks like sleighs down the hill just so we could finally get off that island. And then we went to Eos, and that was so fun. Yeah.
It was fun, but we had no plans of where we were staying. We would just figure it out. Yep. People would go, oh, this is a great, hostel or hotel, or somebody would let us into their house, it was such a great adventure.
Yeah.
And
we wrapped up the trip with your family in Germany.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. That was fun.
And our favorite, I have to say, I'm sorry, our favorite part was called the Hamburger Dome, and it was the fair. It was like a Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
But on a much smaller scale. The rides had no belts, like no safety equipment whatsoever. So we'd just be literally hanging on for our lives. But we just wanted to go back there every single day. So fun.
No, we did. And then, of course, I loved eating the bread and cheese. I'm like, oh, we get cheese for breakfast every morning? Woohoo! So then we fast forward. We've all graduated from college, and we're trying to figure out what we were going to do. And Jessica, you decided to be a flight attendant.
Yeah, it wasn't really a decision. It was, again, one of those things. Like, I no offense, California, where I live, but I didn't love Southern California. I missed Minnesota. So I moved back to Minnesota and was waitressing. And I was a broadcast journalism major. I was interning for the Special Olympics and waitressing for money. And because you didn't get paid for interns back then. And all these waitresses were going to a United Airlines interview. And I was like, oh, I'll go with you. What the heck? And I got the job, and like nobody else did. I was like, oh. Anyways, I took the job. But I'm going to sound so horrible. When I got the job, I was in Jamaica. And so we were driving up to a cabin in Minnesota. We saw a fire sale to Jamaica at the airport thing. We literally pull over, had our backpacks. We were going to get beer in Canada, so we had our passports. And we go to Jamaica with Christy and Kelly Vickland instead of going to the cabin. Anyways, that's when I got the call that I got the job, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to make that call. Anyways, ended up doing that, but then they based me in California, which was just so crazy. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going back to California. So I did that job for about 4 or 5 years and really took advantage of those flight benefits.
Yes, she did. She was always like, it's Jessica. She always an adventure. It was like, where are you now? And again, this was before cell phones. So this is leaving messages on answering machines, or her like, cuz I'm going to be in New York. Are you there? Because I was living in New York at the time. That
That
was
was
fun.
fun. I stayed with you for a long time.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
So then fast forward, then you get married, you have your two beautiful daughters, Ellen, Marley. And then when did you start getting into yoga?
Well, weirdly, like when my mom taught aerobics, so when I was back in Minnesota in high school, I was teaching classes there, and I taught classes. I was a dancer, so I taught classes called Stretch and Breathe. And one of the moms came up to me and she's like, "Oh, you teach yoga?" And I was like, "I do." And it really just came so naturally, that whole like inhale and then exhale and the movement and the flow of it. And so then I was really interested in yoga. And in college, like I went to a couple classes. I think we went with you once. I went with you once to that girl Sunshine or something.
Oh my God.
That was weird.
Yeah.
And then, like when I was a flight attendant, I started to really study it and go to it. And, I was a runner, so I thought it was a little slow for me. And then I found Ashtanga yoga, and that was my first certification like 24 years ago. I got certified in Ashtanga, very vigorous form of yoga, and I loved it. And it was just, you just felt so strong and light at the same time. And then that can get a little hard on your body over time. But yeah, so I've been teaching like 24 years, and I absolutely love teaching yoga. Like I love it. And having my broadcast journalism major, like going to the Zoom room with yoga, that was the only good thing about COVID. Well, and empty airplanes, because I traveled a ton. But I love teaching online. I love it. I've got my whole setup here, and I love it. So I do in person and online, and I love it. It's great.
That is so cool. And to have a career that actually was kind of enhanced by COVID, right? Were you doing online training prior to that?
No, but it was my dream to do it. Like I wanted to do that, and I was like, how do I do that? And I tried to do the YouTube thing. I just don't know how to do all that techie stuff. Maybe I need to talk to you, Timothy. I still want to do YouTube, but like I don't want to do bad videos. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want them to be good. And I have some good friends who've had a lot of success on YouTube, but I just can't figure out the technological stuff of it. But so no, I just do live in person, and it's really, really great. And I actually really love the in-person live stream, because I have a huge screen here, and I can see my students. Like Heidi knows, I'll be like, Heidi, put more weight in your heel, bend your knee a little more. I can still instruct. And so I really like that versus the pre-recorded stuff, but it's all good.
Wow.
So I think that's great, finding a positive from COVID, because that was not to go down that rabbit hole again of just how insane that was. Mm-hmm. But, I feel the fact that you can take classes. We live too far. I could not take your class, mm-hmm. but now I can do it. When I can, I love it. Thank God for online classes, and that now everything is back up and running again to do it in person. It's great. And I'm happy that you're thriving in that again, because you're gifted, Jessica.
Yeah. And like thriving is a nice way to put it. I had been with a company called Yoga Works for 22 years, and like they were my mothership, and they had me traveling internationally all over the world, teaching teacher trainings, and it was just the best job ever. And that ended during COVID.
Everybody listening, we're going to put her links up, so you need to take classes from my cousin and join her on one of her fabulous retreats. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I have this passion for travel, right? So I do lead yoga retreats, and up until this year, they were all international. And I do a retreat in the Bahamas every year. I've done Ireland, Costa Rica, Mexico, like all over. I want to do Spain in the spring. But yeah, I love love leading yoga retreats. And I don't really call them yoga retreats. I call them yoga vacays, because it's like you're allowed to drink wine if you want to. If you want an espresso, you can have one, So it's really just a great vacation with great relaxation and adventure if you want it, and some really, really good yoga, amongst other things. But I did my first domestic one, if you will, last month in Joshua Tree, and Heidi came on that one. It was the first one she came on with me.
So I have to say, and again, see, here's the thread of the childhood and the adventures and travel and organization. It all, like, this was your path, Jessica. Like, I don't know as a child if you realize that, like, what did you think you wanted to do?
I wanted to be a travel agent.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of am still looking for a part-time job in that. But like, I love organizing trips. Like, I love it. I've organized like trips for my family and other groups to Greece and to Cuba, and also I love organizing trips. And so, like you said, the organization, it does take a lot of organization to lead a yoga vacay. And a lot of people hire people to do that for them. Hire me, I'll do it for you. But yeah, I love doing it. And then when it comes to fruition and it all worked out, you're just like, it feels like a baby, It's like, you're just like, oh my baby, yay. It's great.
Okay, so I'm going to say my kudos to her, because again, I was supposed to go on a retreat, the one in Mexico, and there was a hurricane and I did not end up going. And that was anyway, I will not ever do that again. I will go. I should not have listened to somebody who was not supportive of that. It's all good. But I made Joshua Tree, and it was so well organized. I mean, everything from what you expected, to the meals, to the classes, to the little side trips that we did, to the time to be able to relax for the activities. It was perfect. I literally had the best time meeting the nicest group of people. Another friend of mine came along, Lisa, who was on the show, our first guest on the show, and did a little partnering up. But it was fantastic. I literally didn't have to think about anything. And I was so relaxed, and boy, I needed that, because I had a lot of shit happening before. So it was meant to be that I was supposed to go and to be able to release and like heal from all this blah. And I still, hold please, my little candle, Jessica, that you gave us every day. And here's my little intention. Every day since we've gotten back, I do my meditation and light my candle.
Good for you. I lit mine yesterday. My daughter Marley's been doing hers every day. And guess what I got in the mail today? Just literally right before I logged on. Heidi sent me this because on the last day, every pose we did, I was like, cactus arms. But it was perfect. Just such nice heart opening. And it was so fun. That I love these retreats. I was telling, I get really tired. It's a lot hosting 20, 25 people and putting it together. And then like at the end, I'm like, and I want like a bottle of wine and spaghetti, like at the end of the retreat. Like I just, you just kind of want to go in a cave and be like, oh my God, that was exhausting. It was great, but it was so exhausting because I put a lot of effort and love and passion into these. I swear after Joshua Tree, I didn't have that at all. I don't know what it was. Maybe because we took the travel. I wasn't tired. I was rejuvenated. I was like, wow. I think it was the spirit animal meditation, actually, that just, I still have juice from that, Yeah. Should I tell you guys about it real quick?
Yes.
So we went to this indigenous like property, And we were with this guy, I think he was Cherokee, right? Abe. And he led us through a meditation. And I mean, we were, I don't know, we were 16, 17. It was all women this time.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of the desert. You know, we had shade, but it was hot and windy and beautiful. And we had Lucy, the German Shepherd, with us. And he led us through this super cool drum ceremony. And then he led us through this crazy breath work, which I love breath work. I'm very passionate about breath work and meditation along the lines of yoga, right? And then we lied down and he guided us through this meditation where our spirit animal would come to us. And I think 15 of the 17 women were weeping, some hysterically, but in a happy way. I didn't even realize I was on my back and my arms were up like the whole time. I didn't even know. And by the way, I'm one of those people, like if you go to a hypnotist, I'm like, I'll just fake it because this is so stupid. You know, like I don't fall for this stuff. Like I'm not, I mean, I feel like I'm intuitive and all that good stuff, but like, I'm not going to levitate. Right. And, I mean, let me tell you, this experience was insane. And Heidi, what animal came to you?
So the first one was a snake. Weird. And it was, I mean, it just kind of came up and like was looking at me and I'm like, okay.
So vivid.
Which I normally don't have vivid.
Yeah.
If I've done meditations or, sometimes you don't see anything, which is fine. But this was, anyway, and the snake is looking at me. And then it was interesting. There was like a morphing, like I saw my two horses and then animals were just kind of morphing. And I'm like, okay, don't try to figure out what they are. They're just coming to you as they are. And then the very last one was a bumblebee, which we talked about our friend Wendy, who passed away. When we were at her celebration of life, this little bumblebee came to all of us. And so how funny that was the closing animal that I saw.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was such an intense experience. I was like, okay, if anything comes to me, it's going to be a dolphin for sure. Like, I'm going to get my dolphin. And then like, at first it was like a unicorn face. And I remember having a conversation with it going, you're not a real animal. And then it just turned into this wild white horse. And then that's what it was for the next hour. This wild, white, beautiful horse telling me it's okay to be me. It's okay to run free. It's okay to be wild. And I was like, thank you. So I needed to be told that, because you have this upbringing and then you have the, I don't know, Puritan society that you live in. And with all this planetary awareness, and you're like, I don't know how to juggle this. Like, I feel like I should sit and have a real job and actually make consistent living, but it's really not who I am. And anyways, it was so great. It was such a great experience. And it really I felt like it gave us permission to continue the path that we're on and that we're passionate about. I love my white horse.
I know, that was cool. And then Marley saw the wolf. For some reason, I thought you saw a wolf too, or maybe her wolf was going to, she said, or something like that.
No, I wanted a wolf too. Like I thought I'd see a wolf, but no.
Yeah.
But my daughter had a wolf. I mean, it was crazy what people had. I have this one yoga student she's so cute. She's young and she always is jumping ahead. She's always like trying to do the next pose before we get to it. And I'm like, you got to stay in the moment, girl. Like, da-da-da-da. And she's just quick to answer. And she's like a young soul, right? And I call her Bambi. Like I call her a deer. And it was a deer that came to her. Like she was bawling. Like it was crazy. Back to just the yoga retreats. Like wherever we are, we'll do some like fun experience. If we're in the Bahamas, we'll go snorkeling. But like this was kind of above and beyond. It was really great.
Well, and it's interesting too, because the snake, I bought that book, Animal Speak, and it's shedding. Like the snake is shedding. And I was like, yeah, I need to be shedding stuff, because it's so interesting what you just said. And Tim, I know you feel the same way. No, Jessica, you should not be having a desk job. That is absolutely not why God put you on this planet. You are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And when you try to fight that, it doesn't work. I do kind of have that type of job, but I love what I do because I created my own thing with the therapy dogs. But if I had not done that, I would have not stayed at the airport. I would have been gone doing I don't know what. But, I've always said if I'm not happy, I'm not going to stay in a job. I'll figure it out. And always I have been guided.
But you also have, Heidi, quite the adventurous spirit. I mean, we met working on cruise ships and we were all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So so even though with that type of job, we were like, the minute you walk out of your cabin, you're on, because the passengers recognize you and you've got to like interact with people and whatever. So it is kind of like a day-to-day kind of job-ish. But then it's also super adventurous because you're going to all these places that you've never been before, and you can go on these excursions and come back and have all this yummy free food. But one thing I wanted to say is I definitely love this conversation about spirit animals. On the one hand, Heidi, when you said a snake came to you, immediately what came to me was the shedding of skin. That was immediate. Like the minute you said that, I was like, oh, the shedding of the skin. Yes. So it's great to hear you say that, because I think, sharing that experience with other people allows us, and I'll even be more specific, sharing that with me, what you guys went through and how you experienced that, allows me to tap into my own intuition and see the images that come to me just from what you're talking about. I didn't have an image for myself, but I was receiving what you're saying. So I love this conversation.
Yeah, I think we block things out, right? You're in society and you block things out and you're not open to the experiences. And that's why obviously we all know when you're in nature, you feel better. I mean, most of us feel better because we're more open and there's less blockage. Like kids have their imaginary friends. I mean, I think there's something to that. And then they kind of, as you get older, they go away. But like being open to things, and I think we're all proof, just an example like the cruise ship thing, as to you can be grounded and responsible, but still be wild and free, right? Still have a good, like a fun spirit and stay grounded. I think there's a balance and we can do it.
Absolutely. So I would encourage anybody, if you're unable to do one of Jessica's yoga retreats, but you really do, if you can, like, I cannot speak highly. I can't like brag enough about how amazing it was. And, you don't have to do everything. If you didn't want to go on an excursion or something that was planned. Oh, we also had massages too that were great, and reflexology on the feet, which I'd never had before, which I need to find somebody who can do it here. But it's all these great opportunities to either take advantage of or not.
Here at Tangent, we explore the possibilities of cool climate white wines rooted in the Edna Valley and the Central Coast. These wines challenge expectations and prove that every day can and should be a new adventure. Our innovative spirit is channeled into everything we produce, from colorful cans to screw-capped bottles to our wine itself. We deliver wines with the promise of being vibrant, fresh, and delightfully different. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, or call us at 805-269-8200.
People, like my neighbors, are like, oh, you're going again? And they think like you can travel on a budget. People think they can't travel if I don't travel luxuriously at all. Half the time I bring my own, like I pack a cooler of food if I'm going somewhere, you can travel on a budget, and I think it's actually probably more fun.
I agree. So you love all of these things about your job, all of these positive things. What's something that is not so fun? And maybe there's not.
No, I would just say, like you teach the online classes and you hope 40 people come to class like they did when I was with the previous company, right? And then you have 9 or 10 and you're like, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll just say it outright, like just the consistency and the income, it's very in flux since COVID. So I'm teaching at local studios, but for like half the rate that I taught at before COVID. And it's just not coming back, And so I feel like in the yoga industry, and we kind of touched on this, is the expertise. I mean, I'm considered a master teacher, with a lot of experience. And I don't think a lot of people just don't really care about that. And I think if you do compare yoga classes and you take from a very experienced teacher and like maybe a less experienced teacher, it could be a great class, but it's a different experience.
Yeah, and the generation now, they are out for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
They may not tune into the number of years that you've been doing something, but if they have a great experience, they're going to tell their friends about it and they're coming back.
Yeah, like my 22-year-old daughter, how old is Marley? 23-year-old daughter that came on there, she's like, oh, this is what you do? I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been doing your whole life, girl. She was like, wow.
Yeah, I loved her and I got to experience that together because I said, you've got to be proud of your mom. Like, this is a lot of work. And I mean, it was so cute. She goes, she's just amazing. And like, this was so incredible. And I have so much more appreciation of what this all takes.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah,
it
is.
Came as my assistant. And then everywhere I looked, she's like in a hammock reading a book. She's like, she's opening a bottle of rosé. I'm like, oh, so I don't know if you saw that Instagram post I did after, and it was like, thank you so much to Marley Seabern and her 15 other assistants.
Yes.
Meaning all of you.
Yeah.
She helped me unload the car after we got home.
Yeah, when you asked her to do things, she was on it. She was good.
It was funny. It's funny.
Well, is there anything we didn't talk about that you need to share or want to shout out or anything?
No, I think I would just go to Tim, and then I know you, Heidi, really well. I think, like, I genuinely love animals, but I really love people too. And I think that's missing a lot of late. Like, people don't have faith in other people. And people are, I think, for the most part, really good and great. And you have to be open to seeing that, not resistant, because I think people judge too quickly. Yes. And I think if you really love people, it shows. And there's other people out there who also really love people. And I don't know, sometimes I find it's almost a fun challenge when you find somebody resistant to being friendly. And then you sort of like, I'm going to get you to smile, So I remember when we were in New York, when I lived in New York with you, Christy and I would take our rollerblades out. We're like, let's see how many people we can make smile today. Because people weren't generally smiling like in Manhattan. And we were like, we're going to make people smile. So I just think that would be like, I think I really, truly love people. I think, I think you do too. And so just be good to people and dogs.
So that's okay. My magic wand. Here's my magic wand. What's a wish? So I think that's what you're talking about, right? Is just be kind.
Be kind. Not to mention the intake of the negative energy you put out. Like, if you have a negative reaction to something, you're digesting that negativity. Like, you're actually affecting yourself more than you are affecting anybody else. Like, if you're kind, you will be happier. Yes. And back to yoga, the root cause of suffering is ignorance, and they mean ignorance of like your true self, right? Of just coming from your heart. And we just need to be nice.
Amen to that, my cousin. Where can people find you? We're going to post it, but share your social media, your all that good stuff.
So this is kind of ironically, my company is called Universal Yogis that I started 24 years ago, and it had nothing to do with travel. And now it's still called Universal Yogis, and it like has everything to do with travel. So universalyogis.com or Instagram. I post on, I got hacked like 2 years ago, so I'm starting over. So please give an old lady a follow. Jessica Seabern Yoga, and we can put it on there. Yeah, and I post my upcoming retreats on Instagram, Jessica Seabern Yoga.
All right. Well, on that note, everybody, thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much for being on the show. I can't wait for all of our listeners to hear this episode. And Tim, I look forward to every time we do this together. Thank you for being my partner in all of this.
I love you dearly, sister. To all of our listeners, you can find us at I Love Wine and Dogs, all one word. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. We post in the first week of every month. Come on out and support us. And don't just watch the show. Like, share, subscribe.
Bye, everybody. Take care.